Hey, I'm Jacob Deraps, and you're watching We Go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Thanks for hopping on here. I know, well, lots of stuff to talk about. There's the new record you guys released last year, but more importantly, you're doing your first North American tour. So how long has this been in the works for you guys? Because I'm guessing you've been pretty eager to do some dates in North America.
I mean, it's been the goal and the dream for me for so long. We haven't had the opportunity until now, basically. I mean, it's been in the works for months, maybe. I think it started this summer, the talks about doing a tour in the U.S., and there was a booker that was interested in working with us, so that's how it all started. But yeah, it's always been the goal, and most of my fans, they had always been in the U.S. I just haven't had the opportunity to go and play there. So I'm excited to bring that to them.
Right. So were there any other, well, had you done any scattered shows in the United States at all? Because I know you guys didn't hit the Northwest US, which is where I'm located.
We haven't really done that. I've done a few things on my own. I was nominated for the Dweezil and Frank Zappa Fellowship Award when I was, I think I was 18 years old or something, like maybe a little bit younger. And so I played in the context of that, but that wasn't like an actual direct show or something like this. It was completely different. But it's the first time it's the first time that we're actually going in the U.S. to play shows, under my name and
Right.
band and doing our own thing.
Yeah. In your own words, can you describe kind of with what the growth has been between the debut record and Viva Rock and Roll? Because there is a little bit of a growth, depicted in the recordings from the self-titled to the new record.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we've gained so much experience because doing the first album took a long, long time. It was in the works for years, and we were young, and well, I mean, I'm still fairly young, but I mean, I was really young, when I started working on this album, and Josh also, and we were starting from the ground up. We had to learn on the job. We were recording, we were creating the songs and arranging them. It was a learning curve. It was a lot of trial and error. And doing the second album, we had all this knowledge from the first one, from doing mistakes and re-recording things all the time. For the first one, we was like, this doesn't sound good enough. Let's re-record it. So that there was a lot of that on the first album, and touring also. So I became a much better singer by doing it, by gaining the experience and doing it live in front of people and rehearsals and recording. And so the second album, when it came to record it, it was a lot more fun to do and a lot more spontaneous because we knew what we were going for, what kind of sound we were going for. And so recording the drums, recording the guitar, I was so excited to record the guitar. I had the mics all set up, perfectly for the whole thing. And I knew what sound I was going for. Same with the vocals, I was much more prepared. I had the right sound, right from the beginning. Mm-hmm. It just came more naturally for the second one. And of course, the songwriting has matured a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Josh became a much better lyricist, and songs based on real stories, and I think the songs are much better, and I think I became a much better producer and arranger also from doing it on the first album. So it was a lot easier to do and a lot more fun.
Right. Was there anything that was a holdover that made it onto Viva Rock and Roll from the debut, or had been in the works back then, or was this all fresh? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was actually the song Blindside was meant to be on the first album, but it wasn't ready yet. So the drums were recorded for the first album. All of the rest I recorded for the second album, but the song it didn't have the maturity, didn't have the right feel and vibe yet. And when it came to the second album, I was ready. You know, I knew what I was going for with the sound, with the vocals. The vocal track on that one is very, you know, it's particular. It's different. There's a lot of feel in it. There's a lot of dynamics in it. So it required a lot of knowledge on how to control your voice and stuff like that. So and it's bluesier and it's a lot more jammy. So I had to be a much better guitar player. Also, you know, there's a lot of jams, and you know, then the big solo at the end. It's a big improvisation thing. So yeah, it's and there's a couple of things, you know, like Last Fall and Setting Sun are both demos that I had created when I was 16 years old. It was some of my first songs I ever wrote. So yeah, sometimes the song requires a lot more time.
Sure.
To gain that experience and maturity to bring it to where it should, because otherwise it's not as good as it should.
Right. Now, obviously for yourself, I mean, Eddie Van Halen influence, probably Steve Vai, Zappa, all the greats there. But you mentioned bluesy, you know, and
Yeah.
who would you turn to as far as like a blues influence?
It's always been Stevie Ray Vaughan for
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. Yeah, I like Hendrix also, but SRV I think is just the perfect blend of you know, that blues feels spontaneous kind of playing, but also that technique and that dexterity, you know, and that precision. He had both, which I really love in that tone. So yeah, I love that, you know, and Steve Lukather, who's not a blues player, but just other styles of music that I love. You know, Steve Lukather from Toto, and there's so many others. You know, I love Martin Knopfler from Dire Straits, who's just a really tasty player and always picks the right notes. I love that kind of playing.
Nice. Out of curiosity, because going back to the debut record, I love both the records, but you know, there is that youthful kind of fiery thing happening there, you know, that was captured on that one. What inspired you guys to cover Ballroom Blitz? Because again, you know, it being that you're heavily influenced by Van Halen, or at least more so on that particular record, you know, you went towards 70s glam versus maybe tackling a Van Halen cover.
Right. That's a good question, because I don't really remember what was my idea behind it. I think I just thought that it would sound good, and I knew what to do with that. I knew what to do to kind of bring it to that more 80s Guitar Hero style song, because the original one isn't really like guitar focused, and it made sense to bring it there because it wasn't like that originally. So it was easy to just do my own thing with it and make it a little bit more Van Halen. Basically, that was the idea behind it. So I don't know why that song.
Sure.
Honestly, I have no idea.
And do you remember your first experience listening to Van Halen? I mean, what age were you? What was the tune or the album?
Well, the thing is, I grew up listening to Van Halen. As far back as I can remember, I remember hearing even, you know, Balance when it came out. I was born in 97, and I think it came out in 96, Balance, or maybe 95.
95, I thought.
So it was fairly new at the time, and I remember hearing it in the car when I was, you know, really young.
Right.
But later, when I started playing guitar, I got into Metallica, and I kind of forgot about Van Halen at that point. I was playing a lot of Guitar Hero, the video game.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of songs on there, like Guns N' Roses. There was like one Van Halen song. So sometimes I'm just playing the guitar, and I'm scrolling down the computer trying to look for songs to learn to play, basically. And I was 11 or 12 years old, maybe 12 years old at the time. I had been playing for a year, and I stumbled upon the Van Halen albums in the computer library, and I start playing them, and I'm like, oh, I remember that, because I grew up listening to it, and so I'm listening to the songs. Oh, I remember that song. You're in that song, and holy shit, that's good, And at some point, I get to the first album, and I start playing the songs on the first album. I'm like, holy shit, that's the greatest guitar sound I've ever heard in my life. I was instantly hooked, and it kind of flipped everything. And when I listened to Eruption and especially on the one, when I heard that riff and the way that he incorporates late playing into his rhythm playing, I was like, holy fuck, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Changed my life completely. I had to learn that song. I had to try and get that sound. I wanted that guitar sound because it was the greatest guitar sound I've ever heard in my life. So that was my first real experience rediscovering Van Halen and really getting into it.
Right.
Then after that, learn the first album, learn the second album, learn all my favorite songs. It was, it became an obsession and a goal. And
right. Out of curiosity, I mean, I know you mentioned you got into Metallica, you went kind of drifted into that world for a little bit and then came back. But is that something that you ever participated or formed an actual thrash band or anything like that? Or would that be something that you do down the way? Because again, relatively young guy, you have several years ahead of you. You could do anything you really want to.
I've never really thought about that. I'm not as much into metal as I am into like really classic rock, hard rock,
right?
Blues. But I still enjoy it. I love Metallica, early Metallica and Megadeth, and but mostly like in metal, I like Dio a lot.
Okay.
I think Dio's first two albums were Ozzy with Brady Rhodes. And some Metallica and Megadeth, but as far as like forming a metal,
right?
Not really, but I would enjoy playing Metallica and Megadeth stuff live. I don't know, I'm not there yet.
All right. So now that you're doing this headlining tour, it is headlining, right? You guys are the headliners of this, and I would assume you guys are going to pick up like local support bands along the way that are going to be, probably performing before you guys and stuff like that.
We are in certain venues. I'm not taking care of that. The venues are taking care of it. So I'm not sure who's coming. On which show.
So at this point, you guys are the main attraction kind of a thing. What's kind of the timetable? Are you guys doing like 60, 70 minutes, an hour and a half? What's that looking like for you guys?
Just about an hour and a half.
Okay. Wow.
Between an hour and a half and 2 hours.
So what's going to be the balance, I guess, for the set list? I mean, is it going to be heavier on the new record? I mean, I think at this point you guys have the two albums, so you don't have to rely on, a lot of the covers or anything like that you would insert in there. What's that going to look like? Not giving away the set list, obviously.
Yeah, we do both, actually. We do a lot of songs from my second album and a couple songs from the first one also. And we do a Van Halen thing also. We play a bunch of Van Halen songs because I love to do it live. People also know me for that thing. So, I enjoy it. So why not? People like it. And I know it's going to be a blast. And it's just, it's a big party. And we have a lot of fun.
Sure.
So I like to do classic rock covers also. So not just Van Halen, other classic rock stuff also. So there's like this original material thing, and then the Van Halen and classic rock covers thing also. We do both.
Nice. I don't know if you've ever caught John 5, but he does he does his original stuff, and then at the tail end he does this medley of like a dozen different classic rock and metal tunes, and I think that's a good balance to throw that in there for people to kind of go, oh, that now he's playing Rush, and now he's doing Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood. You know what I mean? He's like blasts through like little portions of a lot of those songs. So I think, I think especially with yourself, because I think one of the things that people are definitely hungry for Van Halen. I mean, you've seen that the interest that the Sammy Hagar tour has drawn. I mean, I caught that a couple times. and that was good stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
the Hagar era. You know, I think it sounds like you're saying you discovered Van Halen during the Hagar era, right? That sound
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I was well, yeah. I grew up listening to both here,
Yeah,
basically. I mean,
right,
my dad was listening to both, and I've always loved both. Mostly, I'm more of a DLR guy.
right.
78, 84. I think that's the legendary Van Halen, like
Sure.
the mythical side of Van Halen, if you will. But I like both era. I think they're both fantastic. They both have great songs. But what we do live is we want to bring that DLR style Van Halen. The Hoffer Teacher. I'm the
Right.
the really hard rock guitar stuff.
Sure. Yeah, the stuff from like the glory days, I guess, so to speak, right?
Yeah, the
That's-
party era.
yeah, the party era, right?
Yeah.
So for yourself, I mean, because I'm with you. I mean, I like both eras. I mean, both eras have stuff that's really great and stuff that, is just so. But I really don't get the whole, Dave versus Sammy kind of thing. I mean, because they're really different bands. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's not even the same category, I would say. It's
Right.
just completely different.
Right. So for yourself, because I have seen some of your videos, I really enjoy that where you guys played through 5150.
Right.
That is awesome. I mean, that I could watch that all day long. So that's an awesome clip that I always go to, just to kind of check out.
And that's a funny one. That was a really that was a big one that we did. That's a not an easy one to do. It's one of the great songs from that era.
Right. For yourself, because, and this is again, I'm much older than yourself, but I managed to catch both the Eat 'Em and Smile tour and the 5150 tour, and bought both the records, was fan of both, and ran into that whole, well, now that's Sammy, that's not really Van Halen, and then the Roths, they're saying, well, that's not really, he shouldn't be doing Van Halen, he left the band, but I was fan of both and bought both the records. For yourself, I mean, if you were to pick one or the other, either Eat 'Em or 5150, which one rises to the top, you think, for yourself?
I'd say 5150. I mean, I love Eat 'Em and Smile. I really love it. I still listen to it, and it's really an amazing album that sounds fantastic. But I'm just such a huge Van Halen fan, and that album is 5150 is the best Sammy album, I would say, with Van Halen. I think, songs like Dreams and the way that it opens up with Good Enough. And I mean, there's so many great songs on Summer Nights.
Right.
Get Up. Why Can't This Be Love? I mean, it's a great album.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think for a while there, I thought it was like a draw. And then recently I, started talking album versus album with some friends and stuff like that. And it was like, you know what? I think we all kind of went with 5150 coming out on top, because overall, even like I think with Roth, with that particular record, I think he did some just real out of the box type stuff, like the Sinatra cover,
You love it.
yeah. I like it, but don't you think that shouldn't have been on the record? It should have been like another EP or something like that, I don't know. I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I love his cover. I think he nails it. I think DLR doesn't get the credit. How good of a vocalist he actually was at the time.
Right.
Sure, there was certain shows it was completely fucking hammered, and like he had a harder time singing, but he was actually an amazing singer. You listen to 78, 79 with Van Halen live, I mean, he's nailing all those screams and all those DLR, characteristics. So what made him so unique. And, in the studio, he could sing that Sinatra stuff and everything he did. I mean, I don't know. I think he nails it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, having seen the well, saw the '86, saw the Skyscraper tour, and then the Little Ain't Enough. I mean, by the time he did the third solo tour, I mean, there was wear and tear by that point for sure. But
Exactly. That's the thing, you know. Like I understand these days, you know,
Sure.
him. I mean, yeah, obviously
Yeah.
he's still with
Sure.
his vocals.
Yeah.
But back then he was
Oh,
fantastic.
well, I'll say this too. I mean, I think though I picked 5150 as being the better record of those two, you know, between Eat 'em and that, the tour for Eat 'em and Smile totally destroyed the 5150 tour as far as, you know, energy and everything like that. I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah,
he went
yeah.
over the top on that, and he did sound pretty good vocally. So again, kind of like what you're saying is, you know, there was still some gas in the tank at that point.
Absolutely. And you're right. And I think the Eat 'em and Smile tour kind of reminds me of the 1984 Van Halen
Right.
tour. It's kinda, it looks similar, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's the same kind of energy.
Energy and vibe, and kind of like what you're describing about you and your band. I mean, bringing the fun, right? The fun era, you know, the fun into the show.
Right.
So there you go. Out of curiosity, I mean, I was reluctant to check out any of the Wolfgang Van Halen stuff, and then wound up picking up the second record, which I really enjoy, and wound up catching that tour. What's your take on that? Because you got to respect him to a degree, the fact that he didn't do the obvious, right? And slip into, you know, Eddie Van Halen territory.
I think he's a great musician. I think he's really fantastic at everything that he does. He's got amazing talent. I'm just not a fan of his music, but that's okay. That's just, you know,
Sure. Right.
uh, taste in music. It's just what he's doing is more like modern Marvins or like
Yeah.
early 2000 rock, which is completely fine. It's just not my style of music.
Sure.
But I think he's a fantastic musician.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, that second record, I think I enjoy it more than the debut. I haven't really listened to the third one as much. I'm thinking it's probably not going to really stick, you know, for me
Right.
that much. But, you know, again, respectable, and, you know, he didn't do the obvious, I guess, as far as that goes.
Absolutely. And he's a great musician.
Now, for yourselves, I mean, what would be your dream tour, you know, in the present day? You know, like what would be some bands that you would say, hey, I'd love to support this band or this artist?
Guns N' Roses or AC/DC.
Oh, there you go. Go
Or
right to the
Brooks.
top. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, if I had to pick, that would be it.
Nice. What about who are some current musicians that you're you know, that maybe caught your ear and you go, hey, yeah, that's somebody to watch out for, somebody that you really enjoy listening to?
That's a tough one. Honestly, I'm not really that much into like modern music.
Mhm.
There's some good guitar players, but
Okay.
they don't really do like original stuff, or they're mostly like Instagram players.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not really any like new bands that I really enjoy, I would say. And
Right.
but like Wolfgang is one of them, but
Okay.
it's not like hard rock. It's kind of 70s R&B. They're great. They're fantastic. Other than that, I like Matthias Azato. I don't know how to say his name.
Okay.
Great player. David Lee Roth on Instagram, great player. But they don't really. I don't think they have original music. Right. Matthias does though. He's releasing an album.
So as far as the promotion of this particular record, I mean, you know, the music industry's kind of been turned upside down anymore. I mean, I think it's more of a digital stuff, you know, hits, you know, like you were just saying, Instagram is kind of a big promotional tool. What do you think of the changes in the way music is promoted now? You know, I mean, there is no real MTV, everything's YouTube, which is good. I mean, everybody has access to that, and you know, they track the hits.
Yeah, the system is broken. It's really simple as that. Just doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't produce an album, like me and Josh did, I mean, we did
Right.
everything on this record, a rock album like this uh, requires a lot of people. It requires a lot of space.
Right.
Requires time and money and all that. And we did it, despite not having the big support from the industry, which is honestly a miracle. And also, it just shows how fucking dedicated we are into what we do. Okay. Because honestly, it's almost impossible to do that.
Right.
It just takes a lot of dedication for your art, for your passion. It's kind of crazy, right? At the end of the day that you're gonna put the album for free on Spotify, and you're not gonna make any money out of it.
Right.
And then you do Instagram videos to promote it, but people want to hear, they want to hear covers, and they you know what I mean? The industry is kind of broken, honestly.
Right. And, I think one of the things that do great business are those tribute acts anymore. It's almost like they develop such a following to the degree that, like, it's almost like a original band, right?
You have to do it that way. I mean, I love doing covers, and I my passion for music, for 70s and 80s music and artists and just all my favorite bands. I love doing that. I love playing it, and I love sharing it with people. And it allows me to promote my music that way, I plug my stuff in, Van Halen videos and stuff like that. That's the way to do it these days. And people, there's a bunch of haters. You shouldn't be playing Van Halen. You
Sure.
play your own music. I have 2 albums out, and I get people to play my own music. It's the same write your own songs, which is why, the album cover with the signs, with the sheets, write your own songs.
Right.
That's where it came from. That's, the industry's broken. It really is.
But I totally hear what you're saying, that, people get trolled, write your own stuff. And then if you're a fan of a particular musician, you're like, yeah, they do put out their own stuff. Go check it out. It's pretty good.
They comment, and then they forget about it, and they don't check, and that's why I honestly, I don't care about that kind of stuff.
Right. Do you stay away from a lot of that? I mean, not check comments or anything? I mean, I know you put out all these great videos and stuff on YouTube, but do you generally just shy away from looking at comments just because of that kind of stuff, or not?
Sometimes I do, but depends on the platform. There's some platforms that attract certain people, and they tend to write negative stuff, which I really don't care. I don't about, I don't put my energy to that. I don't answer them. To be fair, I don't really look at them that much. Instagram, I will respond a little bit to comments sometimes.
Okay.
But I mean, I enjoy people who are, fans and writing good stuff. And
Sure. So, tour's happening, North American tour.
Yeah.
First one. There's going to be, what you say, like about an hour and a half, 90-minute set with chock full of stuff from the debut, new record, and then some Van Halen surprises in there. I'm guessing, are you guys going to, a lot of bands, a lot of newer bands, younger bands tend to just kind of hop over to the merch table after the gig and hang out with the fans and sign stuff. I'm imagining you guys are going to drag a bunch of the CDs, the vinyl. You're probably going to have T-shirts and who knows what else.
Absolutely, yeah. And bring some T-shirts and vinyls and CDs and maybe a couple more things. And I'll go and hang out with the people after the show. And I can't meet everyone because everyone's public.
Oh yeah,
how it is. But it just takes a lot of time. But for sure, after the show, that's what I like to do.
Nice. So do it old school, right? Go back to the non-paid meet and greets. Check out hang out with the clients with the clientele, I should say. For a few minutes, sign some stuff, shake some hands, and off to the next city.
That's how it is.
Yeah, my God. Well, I wish you safe travels. But before I let you go, Jacob, I'm gonna ask you a couple things. One, the first question would be, what are 3 songs, Deraps songs, that you suggest people check out to kind of get the vibe for of what you guys are all about if they haven't ever heard you?
My favorite one is Last Fall from the second album. I would say Setting Sun also from the second album,
Okay.
which is more of a ballad, but
Right.
one of my favorite songs that we ever did. And Viva Rock and Roll from the second album again.
Jeez. You can go along with that one. I mean, that one is a barn burner, I think.
Yeah, this one, definitely a banger, very hard rock. Van Halen meets Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, we have a bunch of songs like that. Oh, and from the first album, there's a bunch of songs that I like, but there's the first one we released, St. Stewart's and Rock and Roll. I think that's very Van Halen meets Guns N' Roses again, and
Sure.
that's one of my favorite one on the first album.
Okay. So there you go. You gave them a bonus one to check out. So, okay. Lastly, and then I'm going to have you do an intro to this so you can introduce yourself, and we'll clip it and add it to the front end of the
Sure.
interview. The last question. This is going to be for We Go to 11, which I don't know if you're familiar with Spinal Tap. I'm hoping you are, because Spinal Tap is, a little bit. So Spinal Tap is like all these mishaps that would happen to musicians and stuff like that. Do you have a good Spinal Tap moment for yourself that either happened on the way to a gig, on stage, or maybe even recording? I don't know. I mean, you tell us.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there's always these moments that happen on the road, but I mean, there's so many. Like, for example, I mean, we had a festival gig at some point. It was many years ago, and we're playing this song, and then at some point the bass cuts completely, and what's happened?
Right.
And I look at the bass player, and the head on the cabinet fell down like from the rumble. It just fell right down, and the bass just cut completely, and the tubes weren't broken at all.
Oh, wow.
It's just it just got disconnected. But that was one of them. And that was the last song of the show. Also,
Oh,
so
jeez.
it was kind of funny. It just the bass just cut completely, and what the fuck is wrong? And it kind of broke the amp a little bit. Also, the cables were all messed up, and there's others, but I just thought of that one because that is a fun one.
Right. Thanks. So, thank you so much. It was a blast. You're hitting Seattle on this particular run. Hopefully, you hit some more West Coast. Hopefully, Portland, Oregon gets you booked for a second leg. If you guys, and we get you there. But before I let you go, is there anything I missed? Anything else you want to add?
Well, check out my website, derapsofficial.com. All the tour dates are on there, derapsofficial.com/tour. And if people want merch, I have merch on my website. And I'm also on all social media, so Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube also. If you're a fan of guitar, guitar gear, amps, and guitars, I do a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel. So, yeah.
Hey, man, thanks so much. It was a blast talking to you.
We got it. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. Take care and safe travels, my friend.
Thank you.
Right.